Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be making the $40 Thanksgiving meal for 10 that Aldi is advertising. All right, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire. Welcome, come on in, make yourself comfortable. This time of year is very fun for me. I love to cook, I love to entertain, and sometimes that gets very expensive. So if you are a person who likes a budget meal, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, Aldi is my favorite grocery store. It's where I get all of my groceries, mostly. I mean, 99.9% of the things I eat come from Aldi. So when they were advertising that you could feed 10 people a Thanksgiving dinner for $40, I thought we should give it a try. So what I'm actually gonna do is, it's way before Thanksgiving, but I've invited my family over. There are 10 of us, exactly 10 of us. And we are going to make this dinner and we're gonna test it out. I'm gonna let you know, is it really possible to stay within that $40 price range? I'm gonna let you know if you have a few extra dollars to spend, where I would put that to improve some of the items. I'll let you know if some things just weren't worth it at all. I'll let you know how everything tastes, and also if it is actually enough to feed that many people. With that, let's get going into this video. I hope it really works out. I have no idea. I've never tried it from Aldi before. I'm not usually the one hosting Thanksgiving, so I've never done this. So it should be a good time. So anyway, let's get into the video. All right, you guys, I just combed through Aldi's list very carefully. I have what I believe is the perfect combination of things for the 10 people in my life. There are some things I want to point out here. After really going over every ingredient that they have listed for the $40 meal, they did not include eggs, butter, or sugar. So I assume a lot of people already have those things, but if you don't, that is not included in the $40. They included like a pie crust and a can of pumpkin, but they did not include pumpkin pie spice, which I don't think they even sell at Aldi. I think they might sell like the cinnamon and the nutmeg separately, but I don't believe they sell a pumpkin pie spice there. I do have spices to make the pumpkin pie already in my cupboard, which probably a lot of you already do as well. But I thought that that was worth noting. Butter is expensive, you guys. I do not want to serve rolls without butter. I mean, it's possible to do that. You could. I'm not going to. I had to adjust some of the serving sizes of things to make sure that there was enough. You know, one box of the macaroni and cheese is not enough for 10 people. I am feeling really confident in this list. Of course, this will all depend on what's available. I'm only going to one Aldi. And if they don't have what I'm looking for, I'm gonna have to improvise, because that's the way it actually works on Thanksgiving, right? We don't actually have the time and resources to go to 5 different Aldis to try to save money, right? And if you do, I mean, good for you. But we're gonna work with what we find there. So yeah, let's head to the store and get all of our things. All right, you guys, I just got back from Aldi and I'm very sad to say I went over budget. I spent $47.92, so $48. We went $8 over budget here. And here's why. First of all, there were 2 things on our list that they did not have. And the first one was the turkey, which is the most important and most expensive item on the list. They had the Jell-O brand turkeys advertised for 77 cents a pound. However, my Aldi only had butterball turkeys. There was not even a section in the freezer to put the Jell-O turkeys. It was all butterball, and the butterballs were, let me see. The butterball turkeys were like 99 cents a pound. So I ended up paying $15.52 for the turkey when I had only budgeted around $11 for the turkey. So there's our first little overage. And you know, it is what it is. This is a real thing that would happen to someone going to Aldi. They don't have your preferred turkey brand and you have to choose the cheapest of the other choices. So I did, we had to do it. The other thing they did not have, you guys, was Hawaiian rolls, which was really sad. They didn't even have any like substitute roll in the bread area. So I went to the next best thing, which was crescent rolls, but it was more expensive. I had to buy 2 cans of crescent rolls, which was twice the price of just that one package of Hawaiian rolls that we would have got. So that upped our price a bit too. And the other way I sort of deviated from the plan a little bit had to do with dessert. Because what I had written down was enough to make 1 pie. And like, I don't know about your family, but one pie for 10 people is not gonna cut it. And because pumpkin pies are so expensive to make, you guys, like the pumpkin, the sugar, the eggs, the evaporated milk, and plus I didn't even include things like butter, sugar, milk in this haul because Aldi doesn't. And I just think that that would be an unfair thing to say we're gonna make 2 pumpkin pies because that would really increase the price. Plus, the Aldi pie crusts come in a 2-pack, so we already had the crust in our budget. So I decided to get the ingredients to make a really simple pudding pie because that was the cheapest type of pie I could come up with and also a crowd pleaser. So I did add the ingredients to make a very simple chocolate pudding pie. You'll see that in a minute, and that also upped our prices a bit. I also included a couple of seasonings, which wasn't in my original plan, but I thought if you're really coming at this with not a lot of spices or seasonings or a well-stocked cupboard, I picked 2 that I think would be my top choices if you aren't working with a lot of seasonings already at home. If you had to pick 2, these are the ones I would pick. So I added that in as well, which did bump up our price a little. I think if everything had gone perfectly, we would not have spent over 40, but it is what it is. Okay, starting off, here is our turkey. Like I said, I spent $15.50 on this turkey, but we needed it, so it is what it is. I got 3 packages of brown gravy mix. These were 29 cents a piece. For 95 cents a box, I got stuffing mix. These were advertised as 79 cents on the Aldi website, but they were more expensive at my Aldi. There were lots of different varieties, but I thought the herb would be the most like crowd pleaser for the family, so I grabbed 2. For $1.79, I grabbed the crispy onions for the top of our green bean casserole. For 50 cents a piece, we have 4 cans of green beans. For 70 cents a piece, I got 2 cans of cream of mushroom. For $1.19 per box, I got 3 boxes of the shells and cheese. These are great because everything you need to make these is in the box. You don't need any additional like milk, butter, nothing like that. Everything you need is right here. For $1.59, I picked up some cranberry sauce. My family, especially my brother-in-law, he prefers the jellied kind, so I got that. I did spend $1.85 on each of these cans of crescent rolls. For $3.25, I picked up this 10-pound bag of russet potatoes. I also paid $1.95 for this package of sweet potatoes. They also had canned sweet potatoes, if that would be friendlier for you if you don't want to work that hard, but it was cheaper to get the fresh ones, so I grabbed those. I also spent 95 cents on the mini marshmallows, and those will go on top of our sweet potatoes. Now the spices were all $1.19, and because I wanted to show you the top 2 I would pick if you're roasting a turkey, I chose poultry seasoning because this is going to be the best sort of overall mix of all of the great herbs that you could get individually. And the other one I chose is thyme. I think thyme smells good, and I think thyme looks really pretty because it's all, you know, flaky and stuff. It's not like a powder, it's like actually like a dried leaf, so they look quite nice. So if you only have the budget for 2, these are the 2 I would get. If you only have the budget for 1, go with the poultry seasoning. Next we have our pie crust. It was $1.85 for 2 pie crusts, and it comes right in a pan. That's gonna make our pies very easy. I paid $1.09 for our can of pumpkin, as well as the evaporated milk, which was 95 cents. Next, for $1.09, I got 2 of these whipped toppings. The tub of whipped topping is cheaper than the can. So I got one of these to go on top of our pumpkin pie for people to add on there, and the other one I got to use as an ingredient in our pudding pie because it was just a really cheap and affordable way to make a nice pie. And the last item I got is the pudding mix for our pie. I did grab a sugar-free one, honestly, just on habit. You don't need to use a sugar-free pudding mix, but I find that they don't taste that different, especially because we're gonna add some nice sugary whipped topping in there. It's just gonna be a less sugary choice than the other pie, I guess, if anybody wants. And it was 98 cents. All right, you guys, so the meal I'm actually planning is still a couple of days away, but obviously I needed to get going on this because I need to thaw the turkey. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put the turkey in the refrigerator, and then I will see you back here in a couple of days and we will bake everything and see how it goes. All right, you guys, today's the day. I'm freshly showered, I'm ready to go. It's nice and early in the morning. Actually, while I was in the shower, I did bake one of our pie crusts because we're gonna start with desserts in the morning because the pudding pie needs to like completely chill, and the pumpkin pie also needs to be like chilled or at room temperature. So we're gonna knock those out first thing. I already baked one of the pie crusts for our pudding pie, and now we are going to make the pumpkin pie. I will leave all of the recipes I'm using, like links to them down below. The pumpkin pie, I always make like the recipe that's on the back of the Libby's can of pumpkin. That is the recipe I've always used for my pumpkin pie. Very simple yet effective. And also the pudding pie is actually like the Jell-O brand like recipe. It's on like the Kraft Heinz website or whatever. So that's very standard as well, but I will leave links to everything down below. So yeah, let's get started. Of movie magic, I look like a human again. And now we're going to make our pudding pie because our pie crust is nice and cool. We don't want this to be warm at all. I also think that if you're going with pudding pies, ideally you'd use like a graham cracker crust, but we're making the most with our money today, and because the two crusts came in the package, obviously we're going to use the crust that we have. All right, you guys, my whole family is here. We are gonna eat all this food. I'm gonna collect everyone's opinions. We'll have a good consensus over everything. And then I will let you know what everyone's thoughts are at the end, as well as things that are gone versus things that there's a lot left, just like portion-wise. Just so you know, the sort of demographics here, we actually technically have 11 people here. We have 6 adults and 5 children. I will admit, one of the children eats like a grown man, and one of the children eats nothing. So I figured that about evened it out. So I'll let you know what everybody thinks. All right, you guys, my whole family has left. I'm not gonna lie, the turkey dinner is hitting. I am ready to go to sleep. I'm so sleepy and stuffed. But I wanna share everybody's thoughts on this meal. First of all, overall, everyone thought that it was great. Everything was very classic, very basic, but delicious and exactly sort of what you would expect. No one tasted anything and thought, like, what is this? Or this feels a little cheap, or like, where did this come from? None of that. It was a very classically delicious Thanksgiving meal. So starting with the turkey turned out delicious. It was really good. I think that ideally, for 10 people, you wouldn't want such a large turkey. We have a ton of leftover meat. In my house anyway, in my family, it's all about the sides. The turkey is just like a little bonus. So I have a ton of turkey left. And if you really want to maximize your dollar, definitely get the smallest turkey that you can find that's available. And if you have even less than 10 people, or you think you like really don't have a turkey heavy family, you could opt for just getting like a frozen turkey breast and not even do the whole bird. And that would be a good way to cut down on a few dollars. I don't think that that bird was missing like fresh herbs or like a stuffed cavity or any of like the really fancy things you do to a turkey that costs extra money. Not necessary, and I think it was totally fine the way it was. Really delicious, turned out great. As far as sides go, I will say the side we were the least impressed with was the mac and cheese, but I was kind of expecting that just because it was a very packaged, processed sort of mac and cheese. However, it was a huge hit because we had 5 children here. I think that we could have gone with 2 boxes instead of 3, and that definitely would have brought our total down. So I would keep that in mind if you're gonna go with the boxed mac and cheese. Keep in mind that it's mostly for the children, unless you have some random adult in your life that really loves a boxed shell. It was a huge crowd pleaser for the kids. So if you have a lot of kids in your family, keep that in mind. You might wanna cut down on that a bit. We have a lot left over. I think we could have done fine with just the 2 boxes. Everyone's favorite side dish was the sweet potatoes. They turned out so good. We all had a discussion that we thought that that was one of the best ways that we've made it. I'd never used that recipe before, and it was really delicious. If you have a few extra dollars in the budget, we all also agreed that adding some nuts on the top, some pecans, would have been really delicious. Next, the green bean casserole. Everyone kind of liked it, but no one in my family is like hugely into it. So everyone just had like a little scoop. The kids basically didn't touch it at all. I definitely could have made half of what I made, just one recipe, which technically was 6 servings, but would have been fine for our family of 11. So unless you have like some relative that just like inhales green bean casserole, I would have saved a few dollars if I had just made half the recipe. So keep that in mind moving forward, that that's kind of one of those things that you just have a little scoop of and it's fine. As far as the mashed potatoes and the stuffing, those were some of the most simple, delicious, and affordable things that we had on our table. I wouldn't change a thing. As far as the gravy went, I know that Aldi sells turkey gravy. However, when I went, they only had brown gravy. And we all agreed that while it was good, it would have been better if it was actual turkey gravy. They did have jars of the turkey gravy at my Aldi, but that was not in the budget and it was not on their sort of like list of things that they had online. They had the little packets. So I think if you have to choose, I would spend a few extra dollars on getting a jar of turkey gravy instead of the brown gravy. I do know though that Aldi sells the pouches of turkey gravy, so hopefully you'll be able to find one. Or you could also make your own if you have time for that. As far as the bread goes, everybody loved a crescent roll. I think that you should just choose the rolls that you like. It did add a little bit extra work for me today because I did have to bake them, but it didn't take that much work. I just, rolled up the dough and put them in the oven. So it didn't bother me to do that little extra bit of work. My son really was miffed that it wasn't Hawaiian rolls, though he would have preferred it. But I think whatever kind of bread you want to throw out there is totally fine. Something that the family did bring up is that there was not corn on this spread at all. And it wasn't like in the list of stuff like that they suggested on Aldi's website, which kind of surprised me. Let me know in the comments down below, do you have corn for Thanksgiving? Because we usually do. So I also think that corn would be a really cheap thing to add or swap. If you're not into mac and cheese, you could swap that out for corn. You would still have just as many sides and it would really bring your total down. I mean, corn is like 60 cents a can. So that would also be a way to cut down the cost just by swapping that side. When it came to desserts, we do not have a single bite of pie left. The family devoured those pies. And I'm happy to say that most people elected to have half a slice of one pie and half a slice of the other pie to create one mega slice. And everybody loved both of them. The kids really got down on that chocolate pie, but I had a slice of it too, and it was so good. The 3 layers, 10 out of 10. The pumpkin pie was cooked perfectly. I love that Libby's recipe. It has always gone well for me when I've used it. So the pies worked really well and were really inexpensive, and no notes on the pies, no notes on the dessert. It was great. The other thing that was mentioned is that there were no drinks involved in this list. Everyone had ice water, but I just want to remind everyone that Aldi has great wine. Like, there's a huge wine selection there. I did not include that in this video, but Winking Owl, we love a bit of Winking Owl. So if you want to work that into your budget as well, a bottle of wine always looks really great on the table too. And I think, is that everything? Is that all the things? Yeah, that pretty much encompasses everybody's opinions. It went really good. We have a bit of leftovers, but not too much. It's mostly turkey because that was a huge bird. So we will definitely be having, I don't know, turkey quesadillas, turkey tacos, turkey sandwiches, turkey soup for the rest of this week, but that's usual after a Thanksgiving meal, so I was expecting it. Leave me a comment down below. I'd love to know what you thought of this. I hope your Thanksgiving goes really well. I hope you don't spend a ton of money. I hope you keep the focus on your loved ones and all the things we do have to be thankful for. And I hope that the budget of it doesn't stress you out too bad, because this is definitely doable. And there is so much food left over, honestly, that you could cut out 1 or 2 of the sides if you needed to. If you really needed to really get the cost down, you could. So I hope that this has inspired you, and yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.